Look at that guy there, beautiful fish. Look at that guy there. And we had that little hook. Look where we had it perched, directly in the tip of its snout. Not by much. I think no question about it. When it comes to catching walleyes, and you have to catch them, I'm big on live bait. You know, when you're talking live bait presentation, this is probably one of the most stealthful presentations you could do. One thing that's really sort of intriguing, right now we're on Leech Lake, central Minnesota, one of the premier walleye lakes in Minnesota. But the thing is the water in here is really clear. I mean, we can actually see the bottom in probably 8 or 10 foot of water. We're catching these walleyes right now. They're sitting in about 18. But the thing is, what's really been key, we've even noticed, you know, because normally if you get a little bit of wind and chop, you could actually set up and we could spot lock and flip them out right by the side of the boat and catch walleyes. Right now, that is not happening. And it's sort of intriguing that what we did was we figured out once we see the fish, we drop the corks, pull away from them, and just let them sit there and stew in a fixed position by that little pot of fish we see. But like over the whole top of this hump, this is a pretty large hump system in here. And we came across of it, and there's probably, I don't know, what is there, Jared, 15, 20 different individual pockets of fish sitting on isolated boulder mounds. But it's sort of intriguing that the whole key, it really is, because we are trying to fish a lot closer, and even drop shotting and vertical fishing, that's not working right now.
What's amazing is I've got an awesome sonar in the boat. Not everybody, of course, can have this kind of sonar, but it is really, really helpful. Oh, this one's actually maybe an eater, but can be pretty specific on where we're putting these corks too. So you've got to be pretty specific on where you're laying these casts. Now it can be pretty hard if you mark a fish and then just think, you know, when you're on a place like Leech, that you're just gonna, in the middle of the lake, gonna get your casts exactly back to where those fish were. However, with the technology we've got in here, I have 360 mega imaging in the front of the boat. And this is really cool because I can see 360 degrees around the boat, but I can also see where the waypoints are where we marked those schools of fish. And so what I'm doing right now is I've spot locked us uphill of where we saw those fish. So there's a big boulder pile back here, and I've got basically a cast between us and the fish. And I'm looking, I'll say, okay, about 4 o'clock is where those big boulders are. That's where my waypoint is. Flip back there, and away we go. And now in the back, Jimmy's looking at side imaging, and he can see where the big boulders are directly right and left of us too. And he's actually seeing a fish here and there. So that technology is just huge for catching these walleyes. And this one's going in my belly. Oh, Mr. Walleye, delicious. So you can see here, I've got, this is an old waypoint here, this white one, but this waypoint is where we marked that big school of fish, which were sitting near this boulder. So I know right now that directly behind the boat at 6 o'clock or 5:30, we've got that was where that school of fish are. So we can just go back and cast, and I know exactly how far that it is. So it's basically 35 feet back. We're in 17, 18 feet of water, so that's essentially 15 feet behind the boat is where that pot of fish was, and voila.
You know, that's what Jared was talking about. What we've been doing is moving around on the top of this underwater hump. And you can see I'm looking at side imagery, about 56 feet in both directions. And what we've been doing a lot is we drive around, we isolate where the fish are, and we actually just take the slip floats, drive over the fish, drop them, and then Jared is slowly pulling away from the fish. It seems like we have caught some fish directly below the boat, but it seems like right now the fish are really extraordinarily spooky. But the cool thing is, like right there, you can see that's a walleye about 23 feet to the left of the side of the boat. So that's one thing that's really cool in certain conditions, like if we were in a spot lock in the wind, I can actually position the bait and actually cast right to that fish. That fish is probably 26 feet away from the side of the boat, directly to the left. I mean, that's what I mean, where this electronic technology has really changed fishing, every different type of fishing, whether it be fishing with artificials or live bait or everything. It's just made it just so efficient because you can actually see the underwater environment below you. You can see the isolated rock piles. You can see the sand transitions. You can actually see the fish swimming around. If you're sitting in a fixed position, you can actually see the fish swimming around us, which is really super, super cool. You can see the size of these great big boulders. That's where these walleyes get in there and they hunt in there.